Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and in this video I'm showing you every single secret block and item in Minecraft Java Edition. And so not only does that include all of the blocks and items you see here, no, there's even more items that you cannot obtain in survival mode. And so you may know about some of these, but there's probably items here that you don't know about just yet. And in this video I'll be telling you about all of them. So if you like Minecraft videos like this one, then please make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Minecraft secrets just like these in the future. And so let us just get started. And we'll actually start with these 4 different secret paintings. And these are the wind, water, fire and earth paintings. So the 4 elements as paintings in Minecraft. You cannot get these in survival mode, but you can get them in the creative inventory in the operator utilities tab down here or by using commands. And if you don't know how to access this tab right over here, I've already made a tutorial on that. Link to that is in the top right of your screen. And so the strange thing about these paintings is that they were added to Minecraft Pocket Edition around 2013, but they were never made available there. And then for some reason they added these 4 paintings to Minecraft Java Edition in 1.19. But they do look very awesome and could definitely be used in builds. But for some reason they haven't made them available yet in survival mode. Then next up we have the structure block and structure void, where the structure block can be used to save and load structures in your game. So when I open up the structure block, you can see that here it is in load mode. You can also put it to corner mode and save mode. So if you put this to save mode and set this to secret blocks, and we add a structure block here and set it to corner mode with secret blocks like that, and then just go down here and detect, you can see that it selects this area. And then what we can do is add some structure voids here at the bottom, so then we'll also see what those do. So they are invisible blocks, as you can see, but they do have a hitbox. We can see one there, and one there, and I haven't added any in these 4 spots. Now we can click on save here, and it saves this structure to Minecraft secret blocks. Then if you go over here and place another structure block down and set it to load mode with secret blocks. Then we can also rotate or mirror this. Let's rotate it 90 degrees. And click load, we'll see that we will spawn it over here. So now if we click on load again, it actually generates that here. As you can see that it placed the blocks over here. Sadly, it doesn't include the paintings here. But what we do see is at the bottom here, for these 4, the dirt blocks were replaced by air. But for these 4, the dirt blocks remained here. They were already here in this original location. And that's exactly the location where we placed those structure voids. So structure voids mean that if you load the structure somewhere else, it doesn't replace the blocks with air there. And if you want to know more about the structure block, how to flip structures, rotate structures, and everything else with this block, I've already made a tutorial on that. A link to that will be in the top right of your screen, so you can check that out and be able to fully use structure blocks for yourself. Then somewhat similar to structure blocks, we also have the jigsaw block, which is this block right over here. It has a jigsaw piece on one of its sides and some arrows on 3 of the other sides as well. And so this block is used as a way to construct large structures from small sections. So for example, a wooden mansion would generate lots of these jigsaw blocks that generate different rooms. And we can actually see these if we use the place template command. So for example, you can do an ancient city. So yeah, let's actually do the ancient city entrance path 1. So here it is. This is a part of the ancient city. And you can see that there are jigsaw blocks right over here. We can open them up and you can see that they also have information here as well. You can increase the number of levels here and then press generate. And it will add more of the ancient city around it, as you can see right there. So it is just used to generate parts of structures by increasing the levels. And you can see many more of those jigsaw blocks here. If you turn keep jigsaws off, then they wouldn't generate with these templates. So now we just have a massive ancient city structure there. Next we have the barrier block. This is basically just an invisible block that is indestructible in survival mode. And so while you're holding the barrier block item, you can see the location of the barrier blocks. But once we remove that from our hand, you will see that those particles actually disappear. And so they actually become invisible. However, they still have this outline, and you can even see this outline in survival mode as well. So that always remains. But these blocks are indestructible when you're in survival. Of course, in creative, you can just break them. And furthermore, these can also be waterlogged. So they can work as a single block water source, just like that. And if we're just far away from it, that looks quite strange. And then you can also stand on top of it like this. The next we have the light block. For this, let's actually make it nighttime. There we go. And unsurprisingly, what the light block does is it gives off light. So for the rest, it works quite similar to the barrier block in that once you're holding the item, you can see the particle there. But if we remove that from our hand, then that particle will disappear and you will be left with just the light from the light block. Unlike the barrier block, it doesn't have a hitbox if you don't have the item in your hand. So you can not see it here either. And you can also not break it like that in creative mode. So once you hold the item again, you can see the block and then you can break it. And as you may notice, you will have different levels of this block as well. So if you right click the block while holding the item, you will see that it changes between the different levels. So it goes from 0, 1, 2, 3, and so forth until you get all the way up to light level 15, which is the final one. And you will see that the numbers don't update immediately. That's because these are particles. So you'll have to wait a bit until it actually updates until the full number. So 11, then click. You can see it does change to 12, but the 11 is still there. So there we go. Then it goes to 12, 13, 14, and then finally 15. The highest level of light you can get from one of these light blocks. And also in the operator utilities tab, you can see that all of these have their own item as well. So all the way from 0 up to 15, all with a slightly different texture as well. And these can be really, really useful if you don't want to actually put in blocks that output light, but you do want to change the light level of an area. And it's very unobtrusive. But now let's make it daytime again. There we go. Then let's move on to some of the most well-known secret blocks. They are the command block, the chain command block, and the repeating command block. People have made millions of videos on these blocks, so I won't go too deep into details here. You have the impulse command block, which just executes a command once if it's activated like that. Then you have the chain command block, which actually executes after a previous command block has executed like this in the direction of the arrows on the command blocks. So here we have 4 command blocks in a row, and if I press this button, it actually activates all of these. So it first does say 1, then say 2, then say 3, and then say like. And you can also make them conditional, so then only it will activate this one if this one is activated successfully. But currently it just activates all of them all the time. And we also have the repeating command block, which, as its name already suggests, will repeat its action. So if we activate this, you can see that it repeats a few times as long as it's powered. But you can also make them always powered by changing this to always active, and it will always spam the chat with repeat. There we go, until you turn that off again. And of course, there's much more to say about command blocks, but then this video would be way too long. So let's discover one more thing, which is another secret item. It is the minecart with command block. For this, we'll get some rails, a detector rail, and an activator rail, like that. You now place the minecart with command block here and put in a command, like say minecart, and then push it over the detector rail and then over the activated activator rail, and then the minecart with command block says minecart. And so indeed, these minecart command blocks activate when they ride over an activated activator rail. That makes sense. Then move on to the monster spawner and the trial spawner and the spawner minecart. So these are all designed to spawn mobs. If you place down a monster spawner, it's just an empty cage like this. But you can actually add a mob to it by using a spawn egg. So let's say you want a parrot spawner. Then we just take a parrot spawn egg, right click the spawner. You'll see that it becomes activated with a parrot twirling inside. And if you now place some grass around, because of course they can't spawn on ice, there we go, it spawns in some parrots. And we'll only do this if you're close to the monster spawner. If you're far enough away, then those flame particles disappear and the spawner becomes deactivated. There's also the trial spawner, which works in a similar way. You can put a parrot in there and then it becomes a trial spawner with a parrot. And you can even make it an ominous trial spawner by drinking an ominous bottle. Let's actually put a skeleton spawn egg in here. Go into survival mode, and indeed you will see that this becomes ominous spawners. And if we now kill the mobs, you will see that it will eject items as a normal trial spawner. And yes, this also works with the parrot trial spawner, as you can see right there. Then I also mentioned a spawner minecart. Now this one is not available in the creative inventory, and you can also not get it using commands. into your inventory. However, what you can do is use the summon command to summon in a Minecraft spawner minecart like this. And it indeed gets you a spawner inside of a minecart. And using some custom commands, you can also get it to actually spawn in mobs like blazes, for example. But you will never see the actual mobs rotate around in the spawner minecart. And you also don't see any flame particles there. The next we have the Wither and Ender Dragon spawn eggs. These are not available in the creative inventory. And you can only get them by using the give command to give yourself, for example, an Ender Dragon spawn egg like this. Or a Wither spawn egg like this. And so these were added in Minecraft version 1.19 and they were locked behind commands to make it less easy to destroy your world. Because of course, if you summon in a Wither or an Ender Dragon, they can definitely destroy the world around you, as you can see right there. So it's probably better that they locked these behind give commands. Then we have custom player heads. So in Minecraft you can get heads of creepers, zombies, skeletons, Wither skeletons, and so on. However, normally you cannot get any player heads, but with commands you can actually get the head of any player in the game, including for example Notch. And they can actually change depending on the current skin of that player, so that is pretty cool. If you want to know how to get these custom player heads that yes you can wear if you want, then I've made a tutorial on that. A link to that video will be in the top right of your screen and you can check out how to get these custom player heads for yourself in the latest version of Minecraft. Then we have another command only item, and to get it you type in /give @p Petrified oak slab. This gives you an item that looks exactly like a regular oak slab. However, it is petrified, which means that it's been turned into stone. And we can see it quite easily because if I go into survival mode and try to mine this with an axe, it takes a very long time as opposed to this block right over here, which is the actual oak slab. And if I use a pickaxe, then this actually goes quite fast. And also if you listen closely, when I mine the petrified oak slab, it sounds like I'm breaking stone. Furthermore, petrified oak slabs cannot burn, and unlike regular slabs, you cannot put petrified oak slabs into a furnace to use as fuel. Then the next command only item is the debug stick, which looks like an enchanted stick. You once again get it through the give command /give @p debug stick like this, or through the operator utilities tab. And this item can actually be used to change the block states of blocks. So for example, with this furnace over here, if we hit it, so left click, you can see the different options we have, and that is facing and lit. Now if we select lit and then shift right click, otherwise we open the inventory, you will see that it actually changes the furnace from not lit to lit and so on. So false, true, false, true. And if we hit it again, you can see it's selecting facing. And now if we right click, you will see that it rotates. So now it's actually in this direction and so on. So it just rotates the furnace 90 degrees every time we right click it. And so this can be done with many different blocks in the game. But if a block has no other block states, like for example dirt has no properties, it just says it has no properties, and so you can't really change anything about it. And there are some unique features as well. For example, for snow layers, if you right click it, it increases the layers, but if you shift right click it, then it decreases the layers, as you can see right there. So it's a very unique item, and there's lots you can do with this item in Minecraft Java Edition. Then next we'll move on to some strange item varieties. So for example, for potions, there is these strange potions over here. You can see that these are Uncraftable Potion, Splash Uncraftable Potion, Lingering Uncraftable Potion, and Uncraftable Tipped Arrow. So these are quite strange. You cannot find them here in the creative inventory, and the only way to get them is by using commands. And so what you do is just do /give @p potion and then don't put anything afterwards. This just gives you basically a placeholder potion called the Uncraftable Potion. And in a similar way, you can also get the Splash Uncraftable Potion, the Lingering Uncraftable Potion, and the Uncraftable Tipped Arrow. And so the Uncraftable Potion actually has the same texture as just a regular water bottle, as you can see. They are indistinguishable from each other except for the name. And as you might already suspect, if you drink these or use them, you won't get any effects. But you can see that they do still work, and you can, for example, throw the Splash Potion and you even see the particles. But for example, with the Lingering Uncraftable Potion, you don't even see the area of effect cloud there. And then we also have some secret books over here. So we have Enchanted Book, Written Book, but also a Knowledge Book. So you might ask, what's so special about these first two? Well, this enchanted book actually has no enchantments. So if you try to apply this to an item, it will never work because there are no enchantments on this enchanted book. You get it by typing in /give @p enchanted book, like that. And a similar thing goes for this written book. You cannot open this written book unlike normal written books because there's nothing in there and there's also no author. And you get it by doing /give @p written book, like that. But the final secret book, the knowledge book, actually has some use, which is nice. And this is actually the book you see when you open up a crafting table. It is right there, but now in an item form. And so the basic knowledge book you can get using /give @p knowledge book, just like that. That gives you a basic knowledge book. However, to make use of its actual function, you have to use a slightly larger command, like for example this. And this now means that this knowledge book right over here can give the player the crafting recipe for the crafter. So if we go into survival mode, and then right click on this book, you will see that we learn the recipe for the crafter. So that means now in the crafting table in this recipe book right over here, we have now added the crafter as a recipe. And you can use this, for example, if you have some custom items in your map and you want the player to learn the recipe for them, you can use the knowledge book for that. The next we have this map over here. It is actually just a map. However, it's different from a regular map. If you grab a regular map, it looks like this, empty map. But this is just a map. Normally, if you right click an empty map, it turns into a map, but then you see the area around you. However, this one doesn't show that. We just have this map item in our hand. We can right click it, but nothing happens. So it's basically just a broken map item. You can get it by using /give @p filled map, like that. And that's basically it. And in a similar way, you can also get this suspicious stew. And this suspicious stew is doubly sus because if I go into survival mode and eat it, you will see that I gain no effects at all. Well, normally suspicious stew always gives you an effect for a few seconds. This is a suspicious stew that gives no effect at all, and you get it by using /give @p suspicious stew, just like that. And then the final blocks we'll talk about in this video are these 5 blocks right over here. They are the test instance block and different versions of the test block. We have the fail block, the log block, the start block, and the accept block. All of these are available in the operator utilities tab right over here, as you can see. And they were added quite recently into Minecraft and are used for game tests. So we can place all of these down. See, these are the 5 different blocks. First of all, they can be nicely used for builds because they have some unique textures. They are also unbreakable in survival mode, and they are used in combination with the test command. You have a default test called always pause, which summons in a test instance block that just pauses immediately. And you can see that when a test pauses, then the test instance block will emit a green beacon. While the test is running, this beacon will be colored gray. When a required test fails, the beacon beam will be red. And when an optional test fails, the beacon beam will be orange. And these test blocks can be used inside of tests. The start block will emit a constant redstone signal during the test. The log block will log a message every time it receives a redstone signal. So you can add the message here and that will be logged when this block is activated during the test. The fail block causes a test to fail when it receives a redstone signal. You can also add a failure message here as well. And finally you have the success or accept block, which accepts success for at least part of a test when it receives a redstone signal. And you can also add a success message here as well, if you want. You can also switch between the different modes here in the bottom left. So start, log, fail, and accept. And then once you leave this block, you can see that the texture updates as well. And so all of these test blocks were added in Minecraft version 1.21.5. And so there we go. Those are all the secret blocks and items in Minecraft Java Edition version 26. If you believe I missed any, then please let me know about it in the comments down below. But anyway, there we go. Hope you all enjoyed this video. And if you did, then please subscribe.